DB11 is the first of a new generation of cars for Aston Martin, but stylistically at least, the company hasn't strayed too far into new territory. The DB11 has sharper, more aggressive and more modern looks than the DB9 it replaces, but there's still plenty to identify it, unmistakably, as an Aston. Few will argue that this is one very good-looking car, and it certainly gets its share of admiring looks from passers-by. You'll need to be a proper nerd to tell the difference between the V8 and V12, but for the record, the V12 has 4 sets of bonnet louvres, while the V8 makes do with just 2. The DB11 can be purchased with either an ultra-modern 4.0-litre V8, or a more venerable 5.2-litre V12 petrol engine, and the power they deliver is nothing short of sensational. Both engines are stoked by a couple of turbochargers, and although they have an individual soundtrack, both sound absolutely epic, with a tuneful growl at low revs that builds into a full-chested bellow as the revs rise. The pace each provides is pretty staggering, too. While the V8 will thrust you from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4 seconds dead, the larger capacity V12 will shave a tenth off that time. Both cars won't run out of oomph until you're doing 200 miles per hour. However, the sensation is far more impressive than the numbers suggest, with that huge wall of torque giving you instant and explosive reactions to any sort of pressure on the throttle pedal. The one black mark is that the 8-speed automatic gearbox doesn't always react quickly enough to keep up, which can blunt the speed of your progress, especially on the downshift. If we were only judging the V8, the DB11 would score much higher on this front. Unfortunately, its score is dragged down by the rather saggy V12. Like many supercars these days, the DB11 has a suspension that varies its characteristics according to which driving mode you select, and you'll also notice some variation in the behavior of the steering, accelerator response and gear shifts. Whichever mode you choose, though, driving the V12 Aston quickly becomes a very demanding experience. The suspension allows a surprising amount of vertical movement, resulting in a just as surprising amount of dive and squat to be felt at either end of the car. This, combined with the fact that the car will hop sideways over mid-corner bumps, makes it feel rather unsettled when you're threading it through bends in double quick time. The ride isn't ideal, either, feeling crashy at low speeds and jumpy at higher speeds. At least the steering is very direct and has a good amount of feel.